And you are looking live at the annual Hardinsburg Christmas Parade, moved up from the Thanksgiving holiday weekend to the weekend before Christmas. This live stream on the 104.3 The River Facebook page is brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Be sure to stop by after the parade or even on Monday morning to pick up a gift card or a party tray for your holiday celebrations. We thank those folks for making possible our live stream here on the Facebook page. Drop us a line where you're watching from this evening, or whenever you do get the chance to watch this video. We wrap up the holiday Christmas parades of the year. Irvington was the first that got delayed by about 24 hours due to weather. The Hardinsburg parade also getting delayed as they had some inclement weather on that particular Saturday. Initially, the decision was made to cancel the parade outright, but then they came back and made the decision on this Saturday before Christmas. So, as you see, the police escort slowly making its way up Old Highway 60 from Bank Street. We are located between First State Bank and Breckenridge Memorial Hospital to give you the sights and sounds of this year's parade. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comments section as the police escort slowly makes its way up here as well. Our thanks again to Subway here in Hardinsburg for making possible the live stream here on the Facebook page as the police vehicles make their way up. This is the last of the Christmas parades, as mentioned. Traditionally, Cloverport is the close of the parade season. However, that has changed due to the weather situation. So now Hardinsburg will get the last parade of the season as the escort slowly makes its way up Old Highway 60. Again, the parade you can see in the distance from the left-hand side, starting off Bank Street at Old Highway 60. They're making their way down Old Highway 60 past our position here, and then will eventually end up at the square in downtown Hardinsburg. So if you're further down the line, you have a chance to get a position and see the parade in person. We'll give you a description here, a little preview of what you'll be seeing if you're further down the line. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comments section so that we can show you. We'll see where you are. We always appreciate all the folks that are part of this year's parade viewing, as we have the escorts of law enforcement will be leading the way. Sheriff's Department, Constable, behind them, Hardinsburg Police, part of the escort. Again, this is live streaming of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. That's brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. You can stop by and get a sandwich on the way out of town this evening, or stop by on Monday, get that gift card. How we doing? Doing great. The parade Grand Marshal as the police escort continues. Hardinsburg Police. And we'll get a little bit of a gap before the next band of law enforcement officials, followed by area fire departments, will follow that. Again, this is the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade, rescheduled from Thanksgiving weekend. Our live stream brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. As the police escort leads this parade, behind them will be the Breck Central EMS and fire departments. Hardinsburg Police leading this year's parade. How we doing? As you see the fleet of Hardinsburg police vehicles leading this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Continuing on with the law enforcement representation in this year's parade. We thank all those folks taking time out of their schedule to be part of this year's parade. Breckenridge County Sheriff's Department represented this evening. Behind them, more law enforcement vehicles. And then further down the line, Breck Central EMS ambulance. And behind them, the area fire departments. Again, thanks to Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. They're making possible our live stream of this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. Drop us a line and let us know where you're watching from, either live this evening or if you're watching this later on, which of course this will still be up on the page there, as we continue to see the area law enforcement agencies represented here as a part of this year's parade. Behind them will be the Breck Central EMS response vehicles. Behind the Breck Central EMS, we will get the area fire departments that are represented here this evening. Again, the parade starts at Bank Street on Old Highway 60, proceeds down Highway 60 to the square downtown, as you continue to see the Breck Central EMS vehicles represented here this evening. And now we'll get to our area fire departments. Several departments are always part of this year's parade across all of the Christmas parades, not only here in Hardinsburg, but as well at Irvington and at Cloverport as well. As we start to get into those fire departments, glad to see them part of this year's parade. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comments section. Glad to have you with us here this evening and watch us later on. Live streaming brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. How you doing? Again, the area fire departments here continue to be represented here. How we doing? Continuing to see the various fire departments from across Breckenridge County represented at this year's parade. Of course, plenty of candy to be had by all. We have the Webster Fire Department represented here this evening as they made the trip up. The Cloverport Fire Department with a engine represented here. Glad to see them as part of this year's parade. Again, continuing to see the various fire departments from Breckenridge County represented here this evening. Again, you're watching the live stream of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Coverage on the 104.3 The River Facebook page is brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Stop by after the parade, get a sandwich. You can also ask about that party platter for the holidays. Also, gift cards, always something that is well received as part of the Christmas celebration. That's Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. McDaniels Fire Department represented here this evening as part of this Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. A pleasant evening. Temperatures in the upper 40s. Rain not a factor. Making for a nice parade. Again, continuing to see the company McDaniels Fire Department part of this year's parade. The Irvington Fire Department represented here this evening. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comment section. Always glad to see where folks are watching from this evening. Again, company the Irvington Fire Department joining us this evening here in Hardinsburg for this parade. Have the Harnett Fire Department on board with us this evening. Again, this is the live stream of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. And our coverage made possible by Subway in Hardinsburg. Nice turnout as, again, the last of the fire engines making their way along Old Highway 60. Headed towards the downtown. Again, this is the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade with the live stream on 104.3 The River and the Facebook page. Salvation Army. Next up, Breckinridge County Chamber of Commerce with their message of shop at home. You've heard that on 104.3 The River. Also the contest they have going here. How we doing?
You guys.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Have some Skittles there. Now we see some classic vehicles and some of the more modern vehicles as well. Part of this year's Christmas parade. As we were mentioning with the Chamber, they of course have encouraged folks to shop at home. I believe they have the contest where, again, if you turn in the receipts, you're put in for a prize. I believe they'll be announcing that at the end of the year. Next up, we have Brett Butler, the recently appointed Breckinridge County Attorney. He will also run for that office in 2020, as that will fill out the unexpired term of Bradley Butler, his predecessor in that post, as we're seeing some of the classic vehicles with some Christmas lights, and again, some more modern vehicles as well as part of this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comment section. We always like to see where folks are watching us from this evening on a busy Saturday night heading into the Christmas holiday. Again, for those of you out of town, not necessarily aware, this traditionally is held the Saturday of the Thanksgiving weekend, but some inclement weather initially forced the outright cancellation, but then the decision was made to reschedule to this particular Saturday before Christmas 2019. Continuing to see the array of classic and even modern vehicles, part of this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Glad you're joining us this evening on the Facebook stream. Coverage brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. As we continue to see the vehicles make their way up the street here. Again, our particular position is between First State Bank and Breckinridge Memorial Hospital on Old Highway 60. Really at the onset of the parade that makes its way down to the square in Hardinsburg. If you're close to Old Highway 60, you have that chance to get out and see this year's parade. A modern variation on the classic Scooby-Doo vehicle Mystery Machine. As we get into now some of the floats that are part of this year's parade. Constantine Missionary Baptist Church with their float here lighted with the nativity scene. Also have a person actually has a Christmas tree there, a walking Christmas tree, if you will. Again, this is the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. Coverage brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Merry Christmas. Moving back down to more of the floats. I believe this is Brandenburg Telecom we're seeing right now. Head back down. Again, looking back down Old Highway 60 toward Bank Street and the origination point of the parade. I believe this was a float from the Hardinsburg Baptist Church. Again, all this part of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. Hope you're enjoying our coverage this evening along Old Highway 60 as we have a little bit of a lull before we get into the next round of entries and floats. I want to thank all these folks for participating in this year's event. Of course, remember they had to reschedule a little bit due to the inclement weather from Thanksgiving weekend. Meade County RECC with one of their trucks participating in this year's parade. A lot of work goes in to putting these floats together and also having to reschedule. I was thinking about that prior to the start of our coverage this evening, especially so close to the Christmas holiday with folks to and fro going to various events. I want to thank those folks for taking time out of their holiday weekend to be part of this year's event. And this is, again, the Meade County RECC, one of their floats with Santa Claus and reindeer. Also a transformer and power lines. Back to, I believe this is another RECC vehicle. And in the background, you're hearing the drums of the Breckenridge County High School Fighting Tiger Marching Band. The band part of this year's parade. I would say this almost wraps up their marching schedule for the year. Breckenridge County High School Fighting Tiger Marching Band performing at this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Live streaming on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. Compliments of Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Continuing with the floats making their way down from Bank Street onto Highway 60. Merry Christmas. As we continue to see the various floats here, I believe that may have been the Mount Zion Church. Try to see a little bit here in the twilight. Makes it a little bit of a challenge here. Next up, I believe we've got Dry Valley Baptist Church. Dry Valley has been part of the parades. I believe they were part of the parade in Irvington as well. A birthday cake for Jesus. How are we doing this evening? And we thank those folks for being part of this year's parade. Behind them, I believe, we have the folks from First State Bank. We're standing actually right next to their branch here at Hardinsburg, as we have the First State Bank float here. Again, you are looking at a live stream of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. We're brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Again, First State Bank float at this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Continuing on down the line, Merry Christmas. Continuing to move down. Merry Christmas. As Frankie's Workshop. As the folks there working hard, getting ready, getting toys ready for this year's wish list by Santa. He will need a few things along the way. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comments section. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday evening. As again, we are on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg, just between First State Bank and Breckenridge Memorial Hospital. Merry Christmas. That's Frankie's Hardware. How we doing? Keep throwing. Thank you all. Glad to have them with us here this evening. Next up, I believe we have Tara Pyle Shrewsbury, our Breckenridge County jailer, and their vehicle here this evening. Hello, next up, our Breckenridge County Judge Executive Morris Lucas. How are we doing this evening? Very good. Merry Christmas to you. Again, all of this part of the Hardinsburg Christmas Parade on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. And we're brought to you by Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. Stop by and let those folks know how much you appreciate having our coverage of this year's parade. We're part of all the holiday parades. Irvington was first off, followed by Cloverport. Again, this delayed by a few weeks due to some inclement weather. And we thank all the folks who are taking part in this year's parade. I believe the Gentry School Bus is represented here this evening. How are we doing? Merry Christmas. The Vintage School Bus, part of this year's event. As we start to get into the home stretch of this year's parade. Looking down the line, a few more floats, and then I believe we'll see the Hardinsburg Fire Department. That will wrap things up as part of this year's parade. Glad you've joined us this evening to be part of the parade. Next up, Allison Mattingly, Breckenridge Memorial Health. How are we doing, Allison? No snow. We don't need snow. We've had some of that, you know. As you see the Breckenridge Memorial Hospital float. Glad to have those folks on board here this evening. That's the other half of the equation here. We're between First State Bank and Breckenridge Memorial Hospital. Breckenridge County Antique Tractor Club represented here. And behind them we'll have several mounted and horse-drawn entries. Again, one more time, I want to say thanks to the folks at Subway here in Hardinsburg for making possible our coverage of the parade on this year's 104.3 The River Merry Christmas Facebook page. Glad you could join us this evening and be able to watch us also later on. Again, looking back down Old Highway 60 here in Hardinsburg. As you see the entries, part of this year's parade. As we wrap up the holiday parade season in Breckinridge County. Another float for Brett Butler, recently appointed Breckinridge County Attorney, and will run next year in a election to fill out the term. I believe we have, of course, a Christmas parade is not a Christmas parade unless you have the Jolly One himself, St. Nick, being led by the Hardinsburg Fire Department. How are we doing this evening? As the Hardinsburg Fire Department, normally he has 8 tiny reindeer, not a fire truck. I guess they've changed that over the years, new times. How are we doing, Santa? Merry Christmas? As we continue to have the Hardinsburg Fire Department represented here, and they are the ones that will be wrapping up this year's Hardinsburg Christmas Parade. Thanks again to Subway on Old Highway 60 in Hardinsburg. One final time, be sure and stop by and see them, and thank them for sponsoring our coverage here on the Facebook page. And of course, you'll be able to see this as well after we leave here in just a short time. Again, let us know where you're watching from this evening and going forward, as you continue to see the Hardinsburg Fire Department vehicles rounding out this year's parade. And all the folks at Subway wish you and your families a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we are about to wrap up our live stream here on the 104.3 The River Facebook page. From all of us at WXBC 104.3 The River, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So long for now.